So there was a Nintendo Direct, the Nintendo Switch reveal on April 2nd. It's pretty good. It had its ups and downs, of course, as all the Directs do tend to have. There's always something to be excited for, and then there's always something that kind of makes everybody rethink their hobby. So yeah, I guess let me talk about it. I took some notes. I took some notes on it, and also, you know, it's been a day, so I've kind of been observing what people's reactions have been. So there's good and bad, sensible and nonsensical. Again, that's par for course. Usually, once these things drop, everybody's got their opinion on it, and some people are just sensible. Some people expect, I don't know, they expect Nintendo to be giving these away for free with all launch games included. You know, I'm somewhere in the middle, of course. I love the hobby. I love Nintendo. I love the company. I love all of their IPs. Everything that they've put out has in some way been enjoyable to me. But at the same time, that doesn't make them immune from criticism, right? Like, you gotta be able to like look at your hobby and say, you know, they did this right, they did this wrong. So to get into it, I think we just gotta attack the elephant in the room first, right? And it's actually something that wasn't even in the Direct, and I think they did that on purpose. I think they purposely did not tell the price of the console or the games. They just put it up on the website, and they said, go check the website at the end of the Direct, and it'll have all the information. So they don't tell you the price, and I assume that has a lot to do with the nature of these reveals, these Directs. There's a lot of chat reaction, and if the chat goes one way or the other, I feel like it can derail the energy in the room, right? Like, you know, when Sony goes up there and they're just like $599 US, and then the chat, it just like $599 US over and over again, like, just, and it's just like, then that's it. Like, for the rest of the Direct, that's all anybody's going to talk about, right? So yeah, basically, it looks like there's going to be a $400 one and a $450. No, a $450 and a $500. It looks like the $500 is going to have Mario Kart built in, and Mario Kart built in for 50 extra bucks doesn't sound like a deal, except for the fact that they're selling Mario Kart for 80 bucks. So it would be actually, you know, 450 plus 80. So you are saving like 30 bucks there. 40 if you wanted if you would get the physical edition. But yeah, it's hold on. I'm just very nervous that my music is overtaking my voice here. But yeah, so basically, the games are expensive, and the hardware is more expensive than everybody wanted it to be. Again, I'm no corporate bootlicker. I don't apologize for billion-dollar companies. I don't think I would love to have everything be as cheap as possible. I'd love to be able to afford everything, of course. But as times go on, like the cost of everything goes up. We live in weird times financially, so these companies, whether it's because they can or because they have to, they always go a little bit higher than necessary to keep up, with like whatever could go on in the future and stuff. That being said, as I mentioned in the title of this stream, I've been around since home consoles were invented, right? I was there, maybe not from the very beginning, but when they started to, gain momentum. The Atari 2600 was my first console. I had that even before I had a Nintendo. So I've kind of been there through it all. And I do feel like some of the newer people, they just got into the hobby, maybe they were born in 2000 or something. They don't realize that games did reach $90 before, right? The Nintendo 64 games, they were $60 to $90. Doom 64, I distinctly remember, because I'm a big Doom fan and I wanted Doom 64. I distinctly remember that being $79.99 when it was new. And this is 1996, 97, Add to that the fact that in 96, 97, the dollar had more weight, right? Inflation and all these things happened. So in the year 2025, $60 is the equivalent to like $35.95, So if games did keep up with inflation, we're talking like games would be $100 right now, right? Does that make it feel better? No. But it does also just kind of, it's food for thought, right? When those prices were getting very high, that's when disc games started coming out, right? Like the cartridges were expensive, and then PlayStation comes out with a CD format. The games were all on disc, and that dropped the price a little bit. Those were less expensive than cartridges, right? So that kind of that dropped the price again. So it went from the 60 to 90 back down to 30 to 50, and then we got to sit around comfortably. It's $60 being day one AAA game price, right? Companies have tried to do lots of different things, right? They've tried to make collector's editions. They sell it with these plastic statues. They sell it with like these cheap little trinkets for you to take. Like, don't get me wrong, they're cool. They're like nice to display. I've had a few myself, and I don't regret it at all. And that would cover the cost, like a little 5-cent piece of plastic that they added $20 to the the selling price, and then they were good, right? My point is, I really feel like the price change was a long time coming. This was going to happen, and it really sucks that it happened now. With everybody's job security is like really like edge. And everybody's a little bit uncomfortable spending money right now, so it sucks. That being said, it is not a necessity. It's a hobby. It's a luxury. It's a game. So you don't need to get it the day it comes out. You can wait for sales. You can chill. And yeah, I mean, that's just basically, you're just going to have to deal with it in your own way. I'm going to be very selective with which games I buy. Obviously, I want Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart. All the Nintendo first-party titles, I'm going to try to get my hands on. I didn't see a price on Metroid Prime, but my guess is 60, 70, 80. It's gonna be whatever the running cost is. Mario Kart in particular, though, if you really think about it, if you played Mario Kart 8 from the day it came out on the Wii U into the movement to the deluxe version on the Switch, into the DLC where they added like they basically added another game, right? They added like 8 or 10 new characters and, you know, about 60 new tracks. They basically made Mario Kart 8 became Mario Kart 8 and its, you know, successor, right? It's the next game. So if you kept up with all that, I think if you do the math, it came out to about 140 US dollars if you were to play the game the whole way through. So who knows? If Mario Kart World is the complete package, it has everything built in, and it's, you know, $80, it might be worth it, you know, if they support it, if it has an online community, if it's, you know, if it's good and everybody likes it, you know, it might actually end up being worth it. So, another point I definitely want to stress is I've seen a lot of people talk about, you know, speak with your wallets. Don't pay Nintendo, you know, $80 for this game. And like, I get it. But the problem with that is, what are your alternatives, right? If you go and you take that money and instead you buy like a $10 game, but it has like, you know, the pay to play stuff and it has microtransactions, and, you know, you basically pay for an incomplete game and you have to just keep paying, or there's a subscription, you know, stuff like that, then basically you're sending the message out there that you don't care about a complete game and paying full price day one for a complete game that you are willing to pay to play, right? That's what speaking with your wallet is going to do. If you choose not to buy these games, assuming you want them. If you don't want them, don't buy them, of course. But if you want these games, you have to buy them, right? And you have to buy them at like the what Nintendo believes is their market price. And I mean, that's basically it. Like that's your choice. You could either buy these games or you could say, we're not interested. Are you not interested in Mario Kart? Right? Are you not interested in Nintendo games? Because if you do that, you know, you're going to end up with like these knockoffs, all these like, you know, like, look, you could go on the Steam store right now. You could go on even in the Nintendo eShop, and you could see games that are like $2, $3. You know, they look like they were made, you know, by AI. You know, they basically just look like, you know, cheaply made, and it's like that's your alternative, really. Like, you want the complete game, you want a good game, quality control, you know, you got to pay for it. And don't forget, Nintendo is a video game company. Sony, Microsoft, you know, all those guys, they're not video game companies. They're like multimedia companies. Sony makes industry standard cameras, industry defining formats. They invented Blu-ray. Like, if you buy an Xbox game on Blu-ray, Sony is getting money off of that because they own Blu-ray, right? These companies, if the video game part of their business just stopped, they would not care. And I mean, they're even showing that. Like, Sony is basically like giving all of those exclusives that it accumulated over the years. They're basically just giving them to other companies. They're giving them to the Steam store, Nintendo store. Like, they don't care about video games. I honestly do believe Nintendo still cares about video games. They care about the experience, the fun, and they think it's a valid business. They think it's a legit industry that can be lucrative, that, you know, it could be fun, and you can, you know, make money while making things fun. Now, if you really want to speak with your wallet and tell them, no, I don't want to buy fun things with money, I want to be frugal and I want to get the cheap things. I want the free to play games that are like a dime a dozen, where it's, you know, basically just buggy mess where you're running around with people and it's basically just a glorified chat room, honestly. I mean, then that's the message you're gonna send. And that's obviously my take on it. I really, again, I'm not a corporate bootlicker. I don't have any stakes in Nintendo. I don't care for any other reason other than I do enjoy the stuff. I do enjoy Mario Kart. I enjoy Mario Party. I actually was literally just playing Smash Brothers with my daughter, right? My favorite games are like Luigi's Mansion. You know, I love that game. I love, obviously the 2D Mario Wonder. I thought was amazing, right? It was a complete experience. No DLC, right? No add-on content. You don't get to play as Mario and Luigi, and you can buy Daisy and Peach for, $2, and you can buy Nabbit for, $3. That's the alternative, right? They could sell Mario Wonder for like $20 and then add that, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like an obvious choice. I guess the only other thing is if you like literally just can't afford it, like that sucks, and I feel your pain because I've been there. It's happened to me before. I've had to sell games in order to buy a new game. I've been there. Back in the day, I sold a lot of games that now would be worth like thousands of dollars. And I sold them because I couldn't afford, the GameCube. So, I sold all my N64 stuff, right? And then now, like, one N64 game is worth, like, the price of, like, 2 GameCubes. It just be like that. But yeah, so that's my take. The price is a long time coming for a price increase. Nintendo always cheaper. I mean, it's still cheaper than the other consoles, which is crazy to me that people are like mad at it because it's still cheaper, right? For $450. Like, doesn't Sony still sell theirs for like almost $600? I don't know what Xbox is doing. I don't even know if they make consoles anymore. Like, the new graphics cards are like $2,000, right? Like, everybody, all the prices are going up, and it was only a matter of time where Nintendo couldn't be like, yeah, here you go, it's just a toy, $200, and it's yours. Like they want to make games, and that's the cost, I guess. And one last thing while we're talking about like other consoles, I don't want to like spend all of Nintendo Direct talking about the competition and if they did it, why can't they? But like, in my opinion, this is a hot take, I guess. Hot take that nobody asked for. Gamers, at least on the internet, maybe in general, there's like so many people out there that just don't talk about it on the internet. They just enjoy it at home, and I envy them because I would love to never read some of this shit on the internet. But like, gamers, the vocal gamers lost all credibility in my eyes, and I'll tell you why. Maybe a year or so ago, Sony announced the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? And they put all these videos up and like these screenshots and these side-by-sides, and you couldn't tell the difference between the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, you really couldn't. And so many people have said that I don't see any difference. I don't see any difference. Whatever. It's like, and then, they come out and they're like, yeah, it's going to be like, $600 or whatever, whatever their price was. It was high. It was higher than the base unit of PlayStation 5. And everybody's like, what a piece of shit. I am not buying that. What a waste, right? And then, like, I want to say it might have been a couple weeks later or maybe a month later, Sony announced that the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be available in a gray color to match the original PlayStation. It's going to have the gray color that the original PlayStation came in. No other difference. It's still going to be the, I can't tell the difference, PS5 Pro, and the controller, and you know, everything it came with everything with that color, and people ate it up. They sold out. They were hard to find. They were completely, all their inventory backlogged or whatever. And in my opinion, gamers lost credibility. Like, honestly, if you are going to say, let's talk with our wallets, like don't buy this, like, oh, you know, like my valuable hard-earned money shouldn't go anywhere, but you are willing to pay $600 for this like half-ass upgrade for no other reason other than it was available in a gray plastic, like akin to the original PlayStation. To me, like, that's like, you can't tell me that you're not willing to pay $450 for a Nintendo Switch and $500 for a Switch with Mario Kart. After that, like, give me a break, right? Like, that's ridiculous. So I guess that's my hot take. Like, their credibility is shot, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, price-wise, just to sum it all up, price-wise, the Switch 2, like, I am not happy that it costs a lot. It's, you know, that's $500 is a significant purchase, in my opinion. Like, no matter how much you make, if you're not like filthy stinking rich, $500, it's totally valid to say that's a large purchase, right? So I feel a little bit of the burn on that, but at the same time, I think it's going to be worth it. I would like to have one the day it comes out. Price is probably going to drop as well. But yeah, when it comes out, I would like to own one. And I think it's worth it, and I think it's been a long time coming, the price increase. I think Nintendo has been trying to keep things consistent. They haven't been cheap, but they haven't been overpriced. I think they've been keeping it consistent. $60, all their games, $60. Very seldom do I ever see them on sale for less than $60. But I haven't seen anything over $60 until now. That includes, you know, pay to play. Like, I don't recall ever seeing a Mario game where, like, you can't just play the whole game. You know, where you have to buy more after the fact. So, with the price out of the way, how much time did I spend? I spent almost a half an hour just talking about the price. I wanted to get that out of the way, and I just wanted to spend the rest of the time talking about the meat and potatoes of it, the stuff that they actually discussed. So first off, you know, the design of the console, it's like it's basically just like a larger Switch. So I think that's really cool. Because honestly, before they announced this, I was saying to basically anybody that I talk to gaming about, you know, I don't want the Switch to go away. I want the Switch to be how we play Nintendo. I want there to be the handheld. I want there to be Joy-Cons, and I want there to be a dock. I don't want. I literally never want that to go away. I think at any point, if that goes away, it's a downgrade. With the exception of Switch Lite, which I guess by calling it Lite, they're acknowledging that it's a downgrade, right? Like, it's a light version. But yeah, I was saying, like, I was, telling my friends, I was like, what if they just made a new dock that had like a GPU in it that could like just take what's already playing and make it stronger or something. You know, I was thinking, that's how I was thinking about it. I was just thinking, I don't want the Switch to go away. So the design, I was extremely relieved to see that Switch 2 is basically just a bigger Switch. It's going to do 4K, 120 frames per second. It looks like, well, 4K 120 frames per second, I think, is docked. You could also do, I think, 60 frames per second. Oh no, 1080p 120 and 4K 60. I think 4K 60 might be probably where I'm gonna sit, because that sounds pretty badass. I mean, 1080p. I can notice the difference between 1080p and 4K. I don't think I can notice the difference between 60 frames and 120. So I'm pretty excited. I'm glad that you actually get to do that. I think that was something pretty cool I thought about the PlayStation 5. I remember there was like, I think they started on the 4 when the Pro model came out. You could choose between higher resolution or lock your frame rates in, like, 60 frames per second. And I thought that was pretty cool. As far as the device itself, one of the biggest topics I see people saying is, like, they're upset that it's, like, not OLED. So I mean, I have OLED screens in my life. Gotta be honest, that juice is not worth the squeeze. I don't think, playing handheld, I really think, you could handle it with, I think you could handle playing it with an LCD with, just like that. I think that's fine. The OLED, I mean, it would be good, but, like, you're talking about, like, people worried about the $500 and $450 price point. I feel like the OLED would bring that into, like, the 5s and 600s. Like, so I don't understand, why anybody would want that. And then plus, with the dock, I mean, you can just dock it and play on an OLED screen. Just not handheld. The handheld, I honestly, I think, and then if you think about it, the availability of OLEDs is pretty, I won't say low, but it's not as easy to get your hands on as LCDs, right? So Nintendo has been saying that they want this to be available. They don't want people to walk into a store and they don't have it. I feel like if they did OLED, that would not be the case. They would have inventory problems. They wouldn't be able to keep up the way they will with LCD. So yeah, I honestly, I don't agree that that it being non-OLED, I don't think that's going to really make me enjoy it any less. So I'm still looking forward to all that. Hold on, I just saw like a frame rate blast. I am just curious if I got that bitch ass Tobii eye tracking software creeping on me. Let me see. I'm curious. Task Manager. No. Okay. Although Creative Cloud really just latched in there, huh? Creative Cloud. I don't use any of it, but here it is, just running on my system. Well, anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be non-LED. Not too upset about it, but some people do seem upset. So sorry for them. Then the next thing that I thought was interesting was the games, the third-party game support. There was like a lot of announcements. They did like a sizzle reel, and then they had a few like featured games. One of them was a From Software exclusive, which I thought was pretty interesting because it looks kind of like what do you call it? It looked kind of like Bloodborne. What was it called? Duskblood? Or the Dusk Brood, whatever. I mean, it looked pretty cool. It looked like it was, you know, your typical From Software, but it also had some steampunk in it. And it was a Switch exclusive, so that's gonna be pretty cool. Oh yeah, one of the other things I thought was really cool about the Switch 2, the mouse support for the Joy-Cons, like you can use it like a mouse. I thought that was really cool. Hold on 1 second here. There we go. You can use it as a mouse, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. You know, if you wanted to play like a Doom game or something, I'm curious how that's gonna feel. You know, you get the controller in one hand, so and then the mouse in the other hand. It might actually be pretty interesting. I'm very curious to see how some games play. First-person shooters and RTS games, you know, Diablo likes. I feel like those are gonna be pretty cool once you have mouse support. And that includes like there's like a lot of those like retro games like World of Horror. Loop Hero, you know, games like those really interesting indie games. I feel like those are gonna benefit, right, from the from having mouse control. So that's pretty cool. And then yeah, the last thing I guess to talk about here is the games, the first party games, right? So, you know, they started off with Mario Kart World. Everybody had a feeling that Mario Kart was going to be, like, the opening game. There's the two big games was a new Mario Kart and Metroid Prime 4. There was also, obviously, the Pokemon Legends ZA. But I think the big two everybody was expecting was Mario Kart and Metroid Prime. Neither one disappointed. For me, the Mario Kart game looked very interesting. It looked very fun. I don't know how I feel about the openness of the world, but it did look like there was a Grand Prix mode where you could just go into tracks and race, so looking forward to that. Metroid Prime looks like it's going to really try to use the mouse control, even though it's a Switch 1 and 2 game. So I'm curious how that's going to play out, but I'm going to get it on my on the Switch 2 if I'm able to get my hands on one. I'm going to play it on there. So I'm going to see what that experience is like. There's also some a wheelchair basketball game with like Drag and Drive. And I think that was like kind of more of a tech demo. It's like this is what the you know, the Joy-Con mouse can do, you know, like check this out. I was like, you know, honestly, that one, and there's another game where it basically is the tutorial on how the Switch 2 works, and they're both like paid games. I do tend to agree with those who said that those should just be included with the system. Anything that like serves no purpose other than to show you how the new features work is a tech demo, right? Like that's all that is. It's a tech demo. You should just include that with the game, with the console, right? I mean, yes, it's kind of a you know, it's free software, and I know Nintendo has said no free software. You know, that's kind of been their thing. But I think when you're introducing new technology that you think is really cool, you should just, you should show it to people, and you shouldn't charge them money to see it. Especially if people might not be interested or might not really understand what you're trying to do. You know, like, it's like, I don't really care about, what did they call that? The HD rumble. It's like, I don't know, like, who cares? It's just rumble. The controller vibrates. Big deal. Then they made that game 1-2 Switch, where you can see the difference between the haptics and the HD rumble and vibrating. It's not vibrating. Like, it literally, like you literally can pull the Joy-Con and it feels like it's like resisting. You know, it's like making these like popping feels, and it feels like, you know, like that feeling you get when you're actually like pulling something with weight. And it's very interesting and very cool to experience. But I didn't understand that until I felt it. And I didn't feel it until I played a game that had it, that I cared about. I didn't care about 1-2 Switch. So I think, you know, given that stuff away for free. Hey, what's up, man? Welcome. Just talk about the Switch 2 here for a minute. I don't know. Did you watch the video? If not, I definitely covered like most of it. I'm on basically the last bit of what I wanted to talk about, but this VOD, I'll try to cut this VOD a little bit so you can see it. Dude, I don't know why my bitrate is really like scummy. What is going on? This keeps happening, and it was never a problem before. I am on a wired connection. Video bitrate 66. The streaming video bitrate will be set to 6,000, which is the upper limit for this streaming service. Recordings cannot be paused. Yeah, I don't know. Video encoder software. Yeah, I don't know. It just keeps... I keep looking over and seeing it in yellow. I don't know. I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of people unhappy with what they saw. I, for one, am definitely going to be getting a Switch 2. Yeah, the price, that was like I spent the whole first hour talking about the price. I don't want to dive back into that. But long story short, I felt like the price was a long time coming. I felt like for a very long time we've been paying $60 for a game, you know, $300 for a Nintendo console. But the cost was destined to go up. I think if anybody wants to complain about not being able to afford the Nintendo Switch, I really think, and not getting into a political debate here, but I think your problem is stagnant wages for 40 years and not the cost of video game consoles. When I was a kid, milk cost like $2.50 a gallon. It now costs like $4.70 a gallon, right? Video games when I was a kid cost $60 to $70, and now they cost $60 to $80. I don't know. It's just how it's going, man. But yeah, I definitely love the way Mario Kart looked. I also I like that Donkey Kong game. I thought it was really cool how like you can dig through the ground. I think they started that with Legend of Zelda when they had that spell that makes you go through the ground. And I think once they perfected that, I think that's how they came up with this. You signed up for the... Yeah, I signed up, and I don't know, man. I think I read that you had to be active for 12 months. I hope that's cumulative and not recent. because I disabled mine for a little while when I wasn't using it. But we'll see. We'll see. What was I talking about? Oh, the game. Where I was talking. What I was talking about right before you got here was the games that are like the drag and drive game, and also that other one that's like you go inside the Switch. I don't know, man. I think those are like tech demos, and they should just come with the console. So like, because I don't think anybody's gonna buy that game where you go inside the console and it tells you, you know, what the Joy-Cons. This is where the magnet is. Like, is anybody gonna pay that like to play that? I don't know. Probably not. And then yeah, what else is coming out is they're gonna have some games that are gonna have upgrades. I saw the 2 Legend of Zeldas are gonna have upgrades. You know, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So Odyssey's getting an upgrade. I didn't see anything for Splatoon. I didn't see anything for Luigi's Mansion, which I hope they make another one, man. I love Luigi's Mansion. I really do. I want there to be more of those. But yeah, so I guess, yeah, to sum it all up, man, in my opinion, the Nintendo Switch 2, that's gonna be a day one for me. I've been saying for forever that I don't want the Switch to ever go away. I want there to be a handheld that you can play on a dock on a TV. I love the way they did it with the Joy-Cons. You know, I was saying I hope the Nintendo Switch 2 is just like a dock with a GPU in it that, you know, you can. Sorry, I keep getting notifications on my phone. I should put it on Do Not Disturb when I stream. But yeah, you know, I'm really glad that Nintendo Switch 2 is the console, and it's basically just a bigger, better Switch. So happy about that. So it's gonna be a day one purchase for me. I'm looking forward to a lot of the games. The new Pokemon Legends looks good. Mario Kart looks good. Metroid looks great. There's gonna be a From Software game. There's gonna be like first-person shooters and real-time strategy games. Those all look great. So yeah, I'm all in, man. I'm all in, and you know, the handheld not being OLED, that's not a deal breaker for me. I think that's gonna make it a little bit more affordable. I think if they put an OLED in there, you're looking at potentially $550 to $600 for it. And then also not being able to get them on release. Oh, that's right. There's gonna be a new Tamagotchi. New Tamagotchi. That's yeah, it's interesting. I didn't play the original one. That was a DS game, right? I didn't play it. I watched videos of another streamer who played it, Vinesauce, and he had a lot of fun with it, and he was very creative with it. A lot of people made funny memes for him. That's another thing. I'm looking at these games and I'm saying they're keeping memes alive too, aren't they? And that's another thing I didn't want to go away. I miss the Miiverse, man. I miss when your home screen, you could see like people's drawings, and you could see your friends' Miis walking around. Like, I would love that. Instead of a friend list, you know, you're just on your main menu, and like you just see like one of your friends' Miis just like walk by in the background or something and wave, you know, and it's like, oh, you know, this guy's online as he walks by. Oh man, dude, it's really distracting, this bitrate fluctuation that I'm getting. I have no idea why it's doing that. I'm really sorry that the stream quality is dipping. I'm on a wired connection though, so don't know. I'm thinking it's my splitter, or potentially maybe this cable. But I can't get rid of this cable, dude. It's going through my house. It's like going, it's going from. I have like like a tiny little server room downstairs that you know, everything's in there, the internet and my router, and then there's tubes that go into the ceiling of the router room, and it goes, you know, through tubes through the walls, and it pops out up here. And I don't know, maybe I could get an electrician to come, but he said when I ask about it, they say they would have to put a hole in my wall, and I really don't want another hole in my wall. Anyway, yeah, so deal with a little bit of bitrate stupidity, I guess. Maybe I'll call the internet company and complain and see if they can make it stop. Cool. So yeah, I've been talking for nearly an hour about the Switch 2. I didn't want it to go that long. I didn't expect it was going to go that long. But yeah, you guys can expect me to get one as soon as I can find one in a store. I took the day off on release day, so I'm going to actively go to a store and try and get my hands on one. I've kind of reconfigured my stream room here a little bit so that if I do get it, I can stream a game. So if I get that new Mario Kart, maybe we can play it together. That'll be fun.